How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
So, I guess we can start. Does anyone have anything in particular that they have a question about?
I'm just looking over this right now.
Sorry, your audio kind of cut out there. I couldn't really hear what you said.
I said I was just looking over the assignment right now. I just opened it up.
Okay. All right, yeah. So I guess I'll just kind of I'll just start from the beginning and just sort of walk through the process. I think maybe, kind of come up with like a plan of how to approach it and just go from there. And then if you guys have any questions about anything as I'm kind of walking through it, then, just feel free to ask.
Sounds good. Are you gonna share your screen or?
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the first thing we got to do, just fork the repository. Then I can open from version control.
Stop.
Okay, so now we have the starter code here. And so we see that basically the project starts. We have this pretend developer and launch code that started the project for us, and we basically have to finish it. So all the classes are made already, and we see we have some code written out so far. So first thing I'm going to do is fix this.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
So when we start working as like basic, like entry-level developers, are we going to be setting this up, or will it usually start like this?
So I would say most of the time you're probably going to be working on a project that already exists. So you're going to be working on someone else's code, most likely. I mean, you could get in a situation where they want you to start something. Needs to mute their Someone needs to mute their volume. I'm getting like an echo.
That's me, my bad.
Oh, okay. All good. Yeah, so yeah, you might get in a situation where someone wants you to start something from scratch, but most likely you're probably just going to be working on someone else's code. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, of course, you want to be prepared and know how to do something from scratch, but um, more likely than not, going to be some sort of um, there's going to be some sort of existing code that you're going to be working on. Um, would be my guess from just from what I've experienced.
Okay, yeah, that's all I was wondering. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. So let me fix this red. Uh, all right, should fix that. So yeah, so it kind of goes to the point we were just talking about. One of the learning objectives is to read and understand code written by others. So yeah, that's definitely pretty important. Work with objects to encapsulate data and methods. Use the generator and IntelliJ to automate routine tasks. Use unit testing and test-driven development to verify and create new methods. Apply the concept of inheritance to streamline your classes. The dry idea, don't repeat yourself. So let's see. So we have the job class here, and there's basically to-dos sort of laid out for us. So that's definitely helpful. Add two constructors, one to initialize a unique ID and a second to initialize the other 5 fields. The second constructor should also call the first in order to initialize the ID field. So going down in the assignment text, why change to object oriented. So why do you guys think it's a good idea to convert this to object oriented program? Any ideas or thoughts? So, I mean, basically, the biggest reason is you can make more of a usable program. Like no one really is using console applications, and typing out arrays to store their data, things of that nature, in an actual program. So this kind of just gets us towards the goal of, I think in the next project is the MVC project. So getting us kind of situated to sort of set up a MVC project or something in that nature. So it's kind of just getting us used to, this project looks like it's just getting us used to, more and more heading towards the actual production ready project that you'll be working on or building in the future.
Is object oriented pretty much predominant, or?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely, like if you're working with like a language like Java or C Sharp, then yeah, like you don't like there's not really any other option. If you're doing like more, if you're kind of just making like websites and things of that nature, then you might not necessarily like focus a lot on object-oriented programming. Like maybe you're just updating websites that don't have like a ton of functionality built in, so you're kind of just working with HTML, CSS, even PHP. You can do object-oriented PHP, or you can just it kind of just depends on the complexity of the project. But when you're working with like more complex projects with like complex functionality, then yes, object oriented is definitely going to be like predominant, I would say.
Let's say like you have a website that's like auction based. Do you think it would be more like real time type of stuff? Do you think it'd be more object oriented?
What do you mean like option based?
Well, like Sotheby's or something like that, where it's you have to have real time, like like an auction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like what's an example site like maybe you could think of?
Well, Adnan's job, Exira or whatever he works for, it's something like that. Like I think I don't know if I recall, but he does auctions and stuff at his job. So something like real time where it has to be like within milliseconds.
Then yeah, yeah, you're definitely you're most likely going to be
You're gonna want to mute
doing
Audrey.
object-oriented programming. Um, pretty much everything is um, is going to be object-oriented, I'd say, for the most part, unless like I said, like you have simple functionality, then you may not need to like really design it object-oriented. Although I think for the most part, it's just a good idea to try to think in an object-oriented way when you're designing things, because it scales out better when you think of it like that. That makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, so essentially approach everything in that aspect.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, because what can happen is like sometimes you might not you might, for whatever reason, you're not really thinking like big picture, and you kind of start something and you make, a little update here, a little update here, and it kind of just becomes like a mess sort of. Um, so yeah, if you just try to think like object oriented from the beginning and think, okay, if this expands out, like how is it going to look, and what decisions do I need to make now to kind of to make this program optimal at any size, basically, within reason.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. So let's see. Um, so there's an ID field which will be used to uniquely identify Java objects. So um, does everyone kind of get the idea of like using an ID like this?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, this is something that you never want to have two of the same IDs. So it's a lot of times when you're working with database like a SQL database, for instance, that's important in order to differentiate between different objects. So let's see, scrolling down to so the job field introduces an object-oriented design to the application. So the big difference between the object representation and the string-based representation is that values of employer, location, and other non-ID fields are no longer strings. Instead of their classes of their own. So that kind of just gives us more things to kind of work on and build out. We can get more detail in the data, basically. So we see the different fields here. As we can see, only string now is name. And so employer location, core competency, position type, they have value and ID fields. So we look in here, we have ID and value. So for example, if you had a job instance, you could get the name of the employer this way. String employer name equals job dot get employer dot get value. So the toString method of the employer class is set up to return the value field. Thus, using one of these objects is in another string context, like systemout.println, will print the data stored in value. So, the big focus is with using IDs and all is this eliminating duplication of data. So kind of keeping with the dry concept, objects definitely make your life a little easier in that way. It may take a little more planning to build something object oriented, but you end up writing less code, and that's definitely going to make the program more efficient as well. So by using objects, we have a single position type object with the value web full stack. Each job that wants to use that position type holds onto a reference to the given object. Similarly, we have one employer object for each employer. And it also makes it easier, when we have to edit data. And it makes our program more extendable. It makes it scale out well. So here we have the assignment requirements, which it looks like they're laid out in the code as well, with to-dos. So review Sally's code in the employer class to learn how to assign a unique ID. Add getters, setters, and custom methods as needed to location, core competency, and position type classes. Complete the job class using what you learned in steps 1 and 2. Use unit testing to verify the constructors and equals methods for the job class. Use TDD to design and code a custom toString method for the job class. Use inheritance to dry the code within employer location, core competency, and position type. So looking in this employer class, what do we have? So in addition to the two fields ID and value, the class includes standard getters and setters, as well as some custom methods like toString equals. With the toString equals there. So we can kind of use these examples to throughout the other classes that we may need to add it to. So gives an example of assigning an ID here. Sort of giving us like a way to count up basically and assign an ID. So explaining this sort of line 3, which is this here. This declares the variable next ID. Since it's static, its chaining value is not stored within the employer object. So I just like to put things like that there. So the first constructor, some things it points out. Another thing it points out is the first constructor, which is here. It accepts no arguments and assigns the value of next ID to the ID field. It then increments next ID. Thus, every new employer object will get a different ID number. So it seems like that's a big thing that they're trying to really really focus on with this assignment is the assignment of IDs, why they're used, and how they're used, how to use them. So then we have the second constructor, employer here, and it assigns a value to the value field, and it also initializes ID for the object by calling the first constructor within the this statement, including this. So I just like to put that in a comment. So let's see. Assigns a value to the value field. So part 2. Complete the support classes. So kind of use the employer class as a reference and how to structure it. So first part, location class. So what we need to do, I think it says it here. So note that getters, setters, and custom methods for this class are done as in the constructor for initializing the ID field. So add a constructor that takes a string as a parameter and assigns it to the value field. The constructor should also call the empty constructor in order to initialize the ID field. And then going on to so this is, we can basically use this here, what it kind of pointed out here, can use the same concept to complete this part. And then next part, the core competency class. So go here. In this case, constructors and custom methods are ready. Sally needs you to complete somewhat tedious task of writing the getters and setters to the ID value fields, but not for next ID. So here the concept is using the IntelliJ built-in editor or code generator. So I think you can go like I don't remember how exactly to do it myself. So file templates. Let's see. Right click on the editor pane.
Are you trying to pull up the generator?
Yeah.
Just right click on the text editor part and it'll say generate.
This part?
Yeah.
Oh, easy enough. Yeah, I used to do a lot of that in Visual Studio when I did C#, but not super familiar with IntelliJ.
Basically, wherever you want to put the get or set methods is where you click, and then it'll have the option for the.
Yeah, I got you right there. And then you basically just choose what you want. There. So you want it for ID. Okay. So there we have a getter for ID. So we see how that works. Easy enough. Um, so yeah, basically add a getter and setter for value. Only getter for ID. So that part's easy enough. Look into the position type class. So we see the getters and setters already done. So one of the tasks is to add a custom toString method that returns the data stored in value. So we can look to, I think it gives us an example in here. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. Yep. I believe you can generate some starter code at least with the for toString. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I believe you can.
Yeah. So go here.
Yep, toString. There it is.
toString. Yep. So it wanted us to do code a toString method that just returns the value of a position type object. Well, yeah, so it's not really going to be that, but there's just how you generate it. Oh, yeah, that kind of did it. So use the generate option again to add equals and hash code method. So we see that here. And so let's see. Per to the previous section of the chapter, need a quick review. So let's see. So that's how we generate that. And what else? So complete the job class is the next task. Kind of gives us what to do here. Code a constructor to initialize the ID field with a unique value. And a second to initialize the other 5 fields. And then after that, we're unit testing everything and testing the empty constructor, testing the full constructor, testing the equals method. Then we're using TTT to build the toString method. Create first test for toString. So does anyone have any questions so far about anything that was mentioned? How to start that? Anything in there? Or if not, I may just start kind of building it out.
I do have a quick question. I see you're recording this. Where are these recordings usually made available?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so normally I just release them like the night before the lecture, but if I'm, you know, if I start doing the assignment now, I'm not sure I'm not sure if I should really like release that right away because like you guys have to work on the assignment and like you know, I feel like, you know, if I were to start doing it, and you guys kind of had to like a start, you might just not like like you might not like comprehend it as well as you would if you kind of started on your own and figured it out that way.
Bruh, just say we might try to take an advantage. That's all you gotta
Well,
do.
like to be honest, like I don't like, you know, it's not like, you know, it's all up to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna like, you know, run your run your code through like you know, plagiarize check or anything like that. Like I don't really care, but I'm just saying, you know, it's
Yeah, it's
easy.
for our benefit. That's all you're saying.
Yeah,
It's for our
exactly.
benefit.
That's all. Like I don't, you know, and even, you know, you might not even like really even think you're kind of you might think you know it more than you do. You know what I mean? If you kind of have something to start off of. So I think it's just so much more beneficial when you're trying to learn it to just kind of do it and figure it out yourself. It sticks with you way better, in my opinion.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had the issue like when I was first starting out. You know, I'd be like Stack Overflowing everything, which is fine. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I was kind of jumping ahead of myself to the point where I wasn't really even like understanding what I was doing. I was kind of just, you know, getting stuff to work and not really having any understanding of like how everything pieced together. I was just, you know, I'd find some solution, I'd put that in and it'd work. So I'm like, okay, good. But, you know, I didn't even like know really why it was doing that, you know, and it
Hey,
took
and
me
then again, we
probably,
can always ask questions, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like probably from the time I started coding to like the point of me actually like understanding like some basic concepts, you know, I think maybe it took me longer than others, but it probably took me like a solid year to really like get a good understanding of like what I was like really doing, you know, and you know, there's always stuff to learn. You're never gonna like know everything, but um, you know, I feel like it took a good year for me to get like the basic concept. And I mean, a lot of people learn faster than that. I'm not saying it's going to take you a year, or some of you might already have, you know, some background kind of working with this stuff. So um, that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I can definitely, yeah, I mean, if we want, if you guys want, I can start like coding this out and then, um, you know, I can post it like eventually, maybe within a few days or something like that.
No, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe after the assignment's due.
Yeah.
And then if we have any mistakes or anything, we can see where we made mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so guess that's what I'll do. I'm just gonna take a quick break real quick and use the restroom before I get started. All right, so scrolling back up to the beginning. Um, I mean, I was thinking I was going to maybe kind of sort of plan it out and like write, comments of everything like to-dos, but it seems like they pretty laid it out pretty well. Um, so yeah, I'll just start. I'll just start coding. So let's see, first part. Um, so explore the employer class. So completing the support classes, the location class, it's the first one they mention. Um, add a constructor that takes a string as a parameter, assigns it to the value field. All right, so location. All right, so huh. 1 second. Sorry guys, I'll be back in 1 second. I couldn't lay it out. I didn't see you. All right. Where is my? Trying to open my other screen. Just organizing my screen real quick.
Hey Dan, I'm gonna head out. I have to go pick up my laptop at 8.
Sure.
But yeah, thanks for the demonstration. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no problem. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good night, everyone.
So, all right. So see. So as you can see, we're kind of doing something similar to that. Takes a string as parameter, assigns it to the value field. So who even wants us to I think does it want us to do the same exact thing?
That's what I have, the same thing, just about.
Yeah, I'm just like making sure, but it looks like that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's done. Next part, let's see. So location, core competency, okay. Use generate tool to add a given setter for the value field. Oh, so I did that before, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the custom two-string equals and hash code methods. So oh, okay. That's done. Right? Just wanted us to do the getters and setters. Okay, next part. Position type class.
Another 2-string, the same thing.
Yeah, looking like it.
That's what I put. It's actually pretty useful to split the screen like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I wasn't doing that, but now I'm always going to do that.
Oh yeah, it's so much better. So consider the position type objects equal when their ID fields match. So generate equals hash code. So consider two position type objects equal when their ID fields match. Okay. So I'm not sure what this generates, but if it generates the wrong thing, we can fix it. So let's see. We can only want this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have on mine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looked like it just wanted us to do the ID. Didn't say anything about value.
Yeah,
So,
the string part I took out. I think like 75% of it is generated code.
hey, that's nice sometimes. And really, that's That ends up being a lot of it with like Java, Java C Sharp. You can generate a lot, and then you're kind of just like tweaking like logic, like internal logic here and there. But at least it saves you a lot of time with the setup. Okay. So we're good there, right? Complete the job class.
The two-string part of the job class is where I wanted to review. So when we get there.
Okay. So add two constructors, one to initialize the unique ID. Okay, so this is basically what we did before. I can just copy this. Oh, this isn't a value. Second constructor should also call the first in order to initialize the ID field. Initialize all the other 5 fields. Okay. So string name. I could have generated this. Oops. Order, location, position type. Okay. There. Add getters and setters for each field. Generate. Getter.
Yeah, it says for all of them except next ID. Yep.
Oh, I could have hit getter and setter. Oops.
It also says add setters for each field except next ID and ID, so no setter.
Oh, okay. I misread that. Oh yeah, we're not setting the ID. So there. Okay, that part's good.
So far, it's exactly what I have.
Right. So job looks good. So next part. Oh, in the directions it says job class, right? It says generate a getter for the ID class. Number 4. It actually contradicts itself. It says generate getters and setters. Well, I guess not. Generate getters and setters for each field except next ID and ID.
For ID, it's just a getter.
Right, just a getter, yeah. So I gotta put that back. there.
Yeah, if you learn how to use IntelliJ, I mean, you don't really do anything. You just sit there and generate everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least that part. So I guess now it just wants us to go into unit testing, right?
Yeah, I think you finished the job class. Well, there'll be more once you get to the unit testing, then the next part.
Yeah. All right. So create a folder called tests. Oh, not a folder.
Just refactor it. Rename back to test.
Job test. All right. Create a new package. All right. Test the empty constructor. Way too. A way to generate like a test template, but it's fine.
I think you can generate a test.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think it's the same thing with the. I think
You have to. You have to generate in here.
Yep, test. It's got a test method right there in the generate.
Oops.
As to be, yeah, inside the class.
That's
Yours is different than mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just updated mine though.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I had. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
What is this? I did something weird there. Uh, okay.
There it is. Yeah, yours is different. Mine has a. When I hit test, it automatically puts that the @test public void name set up.
Yeah. What's this?
I did import test though. Maybe you have to import it first.
Yeah, let me do that.
Maybe that's the issue. I import org.junit.test. Maybe that'll fix it. Capital T. And then the semicolon at the end. And then see if it'll let you generate the test now. Maybe not though.
You might let me do something here. Let me see.
Optimizing is just gonna delete it because you don't have a test.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, yours is different.
Yeah, it's strange.
There's not much to the test when I generate. Just it's a very small amount of code.
Weird. I think it's because I have this Jupyter thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, had it for something else. Okay. I'll just make it manually. It's fine.
It's just @test and then public void. And then test setting job ID is the test name.
Okay, what does it want us to do? Test setting job.
That's what I had for my test. I posted it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's right.
Cool. Oh, I forgot the @test. No, yeah, I think it's correct.
And you already imported it, so it should connect now. That's weird.
Yeah, something's going on with mine. Something strange. Job test. Sure that did. Core org.junit.test. Public void test setting job ID.
Yeah, that's correct.
I just need to do like an app before.
Oh, you know what? No, never mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something weird's going on here. At test. So if I open, just get a new window. Can you open two windows on IntelliJ? One second. Let me see what this issue is.
I think it's the JUnit 5 library not found issue.
Yeah. Oh, it was yeah, it was oh here. Add JUnit 4.
Scroll down and see if 5 is on there.
JUnit. I do 5. I mean, I could probably use 4, right?
And try it and see.
What was the one it was?
That's what their solution is. Let's see if it works. thought you did that already. Oh, there it goes. It worked.
Yeah, you know what I did? I thought I did that, but I think I downloaded something else, like
Yeah.
another package or another library.
IntelliJ's pretty good. It usually finds a solution for the most part.
Yeah. Um, so, okay. Let's see. Job test, define a test. Does it want us to use that before? I'll remove that for now because I don't think we. I'm just putting this here because I think it wants us to do something before. Oh yeah, instead of. Oh yeah, so it wants us to. Create 2 job objects using the empty constructor. And okay. Job. Oh. Second job. And I'm gonna put some data in it. I guess it just wants us to create declare and initializing using that before. Okay, the first test is use assert equals, assert true, or assert false to test that the ID values for the two objects are not the same and differ by 1. So, T is oh, just give me some. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. I just want to import the thing. Import, yeah. This one, I think. Yeah. And I can actually do that to import all them. Okay, so has passed. Okay, should be good there. So, run the test to verify that your job constructor correctly assigned the D numbers. Okay, test the full constructor. Each job object should contain 6 fields. The data types for these fields. In job test, define a test called that. Then a test public void. Right. And what am I missing? Not resolve simple third job. Oh, because I added up here. Okay. Use assert statements to test that the constructor correctly assigns the class and value of each field. Okay, so basically we just got to actually, I'm going to put this here. And then assert equals product tester. I'm just going to copy this. ACME. Get rid of that for now. third job dot. Oh, dot get employer dot value. And desert. Location dot get value, right? Okay. Position type. Quality control. All right, and then what else? There's one more. Core competency. All right, I think that's it for that one. And looks like we passed that test. Next test, test the equals method. Wait, generate two job objects that have identical field values except for ID. Test that equals returns false. Okay, so we're just assert. False. Didn't I import all that? Oh, I got rid of my star. Thought I put a star here. That's weird. Must have accidentally hit refactor or something. Okay. Um, so it kind of said make 2 new objects, but I think we can pretty much just use these first 2. So let's see. All right, that passed. Okay, so we finished that part, so we're on to part 5. Use TDD to build the toString method. To display the data for a particular job object, you need to implement a custom toString method. Rather than creating this method and then testing it, you will flip that process using TDD. Create first test for toString. Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is the part that I wanted to review.
So, okay, so we're running the first test. Past a job object, it should return a string that contains a blank line before and after the job information. The string should contain a label for each field. Okay, so this is just telling us how the toString method should behave. Okay.
I did the toString method in the job class.
So put it down here. It almost makes it sound like we should have already had this written now. It's kind of weird how it's written to me for some reason. I don't think we wrote anything like that, but yeah, I think it makes sense to put it in the job, like you're saying. All right, so I actually think hmm, I think it actually wants us to make it in the test. I suppose you could put in either though.
I was looking at the one. I think you're on step create first test for toString. Is that the part?
Yeah, yeah.
I was looking at the one after it.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that's the one that
Oh, I got you. So, okay, yeah. So I guess.
job class. Yeah, this is the part that I got stuck on. These two parts that were the hardest parts.
Okay, yeah. So TDD, test-driven development. So we're writing the test before we write the actual. So test. test to string. So number one, test to string. Returns line. Okay, so there. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Okay, so and then so this is getting get first character. And string dot char at third job dot to string dot length dot length -1. Okay, yeah, so 1. Okay, so the first and the last are going to be new line, so they're going to be the same. So we can do search true. First character equals, oh wait, yeah, last character, right? So yeah, that should work. I don't think, yeah, so it's not gonna pass now because we haven't created it yet. So I guess we kind of start building the toString and use this test for that first condition. So, or does it want us to write all the tests first? I think it wants us to write all the tests first before we write the toString. So, basically, Okay, yeah, so we actually we just write one test at a time and then start writing code for each test. So in the job class, create a toString method that passed the first test. Okay. So I'm just getting all that for right now. So let's see. It wants us to public string toString. Um, Actually, it's kind of a good start. So do this. String. Take. This little starter code. And we're not using all this for the first test, but actually should have kept the ID. So, so the first test is just new line. So, let's see. New line. Output. I forgot to do the ID. New line. Yeah, I'm gonna do plus equals. String format. Actually, you know what? This is hard to read. Um, ID name, employer. Employer. Location. All right, so that should pass the first test, I think. Yep. So looks like it's 9:15. So does anyone have any questions about anything so far?
No?
All right, yeah. So yeah, that's the general idea, just working on and testing as you go. Um, and yeah, I guess I'll see you all or talk to you all on Thursday then.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a good one.